Happy Friday. It's June 16th. I'm Kimberly with Fat Quarter Shop, and Socialize just ended, and so we're changing up our live streams just a little bit. So I wanted to show you a calendar of what we have planned. And so the first Friday of the month, we will be doing the Bountiful Quilt Along, which is almost finished. And if you want to donate to Make-A-Wish, that would be great. The second Friday of the month will be Sew With Me, where I sew on camera. The third Friday will be a trunk show, and then the fourth Friday will be where I show like progress of quilt-alongs and things like that. Now, of course, I will let you know this summer's going to be kind of all over the place. I'm taking my daughter to 2 college visits and going to a trade show, going to a retreat, lots of stuff. So I'm not going to stick exactly to that schedule, but it's going to be close. So if you see me off and pre-recorded, don't worry, everything's fine. I'm just taking care of my children. So I wanted to tell you what we're going to do today. We're going to sew today. Well, actually, we're not going to sew. We're going to cut an entire quilt. So last month I did Trust Fall, where I looked at a pattern, cut, made a couple of blocks. This quilt is really big. So let's talk about what we're doing today. So I have been wanting to work on the Happy Go Lucky quilt for a while, and we've talked about it. It is a current quilt along hosted by Sherri McConnell. Now, I'm not going to focus on the quilt along details. That is all on her YouTube channel, and like she has 3 blog posts on it. So for the quilt along detail, you're going to want to go there. But the first thing I do with any project is I write down what I'm working with, you know, my background, my inner border, everything, so that if I change anything, I can change it as I go. So I filled out my journal, and let's talk about what I'm sewing with today. So I picked this as my background, and it's just got a little ditzy print. And I have 25 fat quarters. All of this has been starched, and so since it's been starched, you're gonna see the creases are gonna really stand out. So I'm going to iron kind of as I go. Now, here is my outer border and my inner border. And what I wanted to show you was we just cut off what I'm gonna need to trim down because I do length of fabric, starch that. I leave the unstarched separate and starch that later so I don't have to starch all of that at once. So inner border, outer border binding, and backing. So I'm gonna move these out of the way just because I'm not gonna be cutting those today. And kind of what I wanted to talk about was my process in cutting and how I adjust patterns. So the first thing I do, like I said, is I fill out my journal because I want to have that on my table at all times, because if I make changes to the pattern or do anything funny, I'm gonna make notes to myself because I'm already on the 38th project of 2023. I cannot remember what I do on all of this. So I keep, you'll see those little post-it notes. I keep notes for myself so I try not to forget what I'm doing. So that's the first thing I do. The second thing I do is, this is a lot of fabric. So I'm gonna change out my rotary blade. I always do that before I start a project. And then what I try to do, but I don't always do, is I try to change the needle in my sewing machine. We're not going to sew today, so because we're not sewing, I'll pick up that blade later. Because I'm not sewing today, I'm not going to worry about the needle, but I'll do that when I sew at home. And I thought today if I tried to cut and sew, it would get too overwhelming. And this quilt is pretty big. It's, you know, 80 inches. So I'm going to focus on how I dissect a pattern. So the first thing I'm gonna do is, and we're not gonna zoom in because I don't want you to see the full pattern and I don't want to give away Sherri's pattern. I just want to kind of show my thought process. So this book right here has everything I work on. So I know I'm super organized, but I'm over organized. So this is what I do, like, so that I can tell work when I bring it in. What did I finish? What did I do? What am I working on? So this one's gonna be Happy Go Lucky. And this is the only way I can really function. I know it sounds excessive, but it's kind of the way I work. And then today is June 16th. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is look at the pattern. And 25 fat quarters, background, I've got all that, I'm ready to go. But the first thing I'm going to do is kind of look. Okay, we've got nine patch blocks, you're going to make 49. You're going to make 25 dark, 25 light. Churn dash, you're going to make 61. And then sawtooth, you're going to make 3. So just looking at that, where is it easiest to start? It's easiest to start at those sawtooth stars. So I'm going to do sawtooth first because that is the easiest. Okay, so I need 3 prints. 3 prints and 3 low volume. So I'm going to cheat, and I showed you this quilt live and in person one day, and we photoed it, and we took a photo of it. So I'm going to try to replicate what she did so I don't have to think about it. So we've got a sawtooth star, 1, 2, let me find the third one. And I tried not to look at this before I started because I was afraid I would forget all my little steps. 3. So I'm going to pull those fabrics. So I've got red. And y'all are probably going to think, that lady, she's crazy. There is a method to my madness. It's just, we just have to figure out what that is. It's a lot. And then this X right here and a green. And then the backgrounds are going to be that. Okay. So that's what I'm going to start with there. So for my sawtooth stars, I'm going to have these 3 as my star point. So I'm going to go to the iron and iron them. You're going to see how thick they are and how ironed they are. And what I always do is I have them starched, folded and everything, but what I want to do is iron them together so that they're nice and flat, and when I cut, it's all together. I just need my iron to wake up. It was awake about 10 minutes ago and it went back to sleep. And I will admit, I broke this new Rowenta iron. I broke the one I had at home this weekend. I sewed for 13 hours straight and didn't turn it off and didn't stop sewing, and the iron, this little thing broke, and so that was lovely. So what I'm doing here is ironing it. I want all those creases out. I want it nice and flat. And you know, once I get started, you're going to see it turns into a mess, but I try to be organized at first. And when you starch, you'll see that those creases come right out. So, and I've kind of kept the bottoms together, the sides together. And this fabric is from the Simply Delightful collection. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at this and try to figure out. So the center square is 3.5 inches square. So that's easy because I'm not going to change that. But the flying geese, I'm not making them that way. That's not how I make flying geese. So the first thing I'm going to do is take, and I'm basically just cutting the blocks. So I know that these are going to be my 3 centers, and I'm going to cut the 3.5 inch squares. And I just threw that on the floor. That's what I do at home. I promise Jordan I'll clean it up. So what I'm gonna do is kind of lay them out so I can see what I'm doing when I come back to it. So that's the beginning. I'm not gonna change that. That's easy. That's my center. But then when I look around the edge, I'm gonna need, these need to be 2 by 3.5 inch unfinished. But I don't ever make flying geese the traditional way. I make them the Eleanor Burns way. So I'm going to take her ruler. And I always have to write this out. I get so confused. So that needs to be, it tells me I need to cut 6 and 4.5, but I never do that. I always cut 6.5 by 5. I add 1/2 inch. So whatever this tells me, I do 1/2 inch. And the outs, let me think, the bigger piece are your points. So your bigger pieces are these points, which is this. So I need to cut that 6.5. So that's why I have all these fancy rulers all over the place. I probably should have cut this one first. Okay, then I'm going to put this kind of out of the way. I'll get to it in a second. But that's going to be my points of my flying geese, because I always use these. This is how I make flying geese. So I have cut this part. Now I need to figure out this part, which is the outsides. So I need 12 squares that are 2 inches. I'm not going to change that because those are my outsides. So what I'm going to do from here, cut a little section off. Okay, so now I'm going to go iron this. The setting I have the iron on is the cotton setting. I just think that I should not have used it 13 hours straight without stopping. But that's how I work in life. So sometimes products can't keep up with me. So I need 12 2-inch squares. Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a bunch of 2-inch squares. I'm going to cut more than 12 because we might need them later. And you definitely don't have to make your quilts the way that I do. I'm just showing you what I do. And this is going to basically this will be what I do this weekend. I'll make this whole quilt this weekend. Actually, I won't make the whole quilt. I will make all the blocks. And basically, when I take this home today, I will have everything ready to go. So I'm just cutting 2 inches. So there's 4, 8, 12. I'm going to cut some extras just because I don't want to lose what I started, and I think we need these for other blocks. So I'll put these aside. But what I'll do here, actually, I only needed 8. I need a 12. I need 1. I need 4 from this, actually. Because this one is green on the outside. So what I'm going to do here is cut 4 2-inch squares. So I hope I'm not confusing you guys too much, but this is how my mind works, and I kind of just now, I don't think the others will be as difficult. This one, I mean, I think it's going to be more scrappy, and then I'm sure that I will need to cut when I'm at home extra things, maybe. So this is going to go here. And then to go with this, I need the background portion of that. So I need 1 square of this and 2 squares of this for the flying geese. So that is my smaller size, which is 5 inches. And you can see I'm pretty wasteful with my fabric. That's why I order extra. Okay, so basically I have my corners cut, my center cut, and then what these are gonna be, this is gonna be the flying geese using this method. So what I'm gonna do to save time, instead of drawing the line and trimming a 1/4 inch away, a couple years ago I realized this is quicker. So I'll put this here. And when I get home, all I have to do is sew those lines. So, is it still under warranty? Oh, I have no idea. I just threw it away. I know that's horrible, but yeah. No flying geese paper. Yes, I do use flying geese paper. The only reason I'm not using it is this is easier for me. The flying geese paper I actually made because y'all wanted it, and I do use it sometimes, but I use this more often. So those are my Sawtooth Star. Super easy. Now, what I'll do is just start sewing. It's gonna be so easy. So I'm using a fat 1/4 bundle. So that's the pre-cut I'm using. Everything is starched. Everything is starched. Are the fabric requirements, let's see. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna set this aside. And then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna start at the beginning. And this is where I have to kind of think. So those are cut, so I'll put a note, cut. Make 3. And then let's see, 9 patch. Okay, so it says I need to pick 25 prints and 13 low volume prints. Okay. So let's see if we have 25 of these. I probably should have cut these from different. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23. I answered that one. Okay, so here's my 25 prints right here. So I'm going to first mess with the ones that I've already cut into, because those are going to be harder, because I've already cut into them and I probably should have done it neater. But what I'm going to do is iron these flat. And I've got exactly 25 dark medium, which is what she called for. And it says here, from each print, cut 2 2.5 by 21 inch strips. Subcut into 4 2.5 by 10.5 each. So because of the way I cut this, I'm gonna do strips different. So I'm gonna do 4 10.5 inch strips this way, but they're 2.5 inches wide. I'm not doing 2.5. I'm gonna do 2 3/4 because I trim these down as I go. So these 4 I'm gonna cut differently than the others. So 10.5 would be about here. I'm just going to cut across here. So that's about 11 inches. Well, 10.5, I go a little bit extra. So what I'm gonna do here, like I said, from each one you need 4 2.5 by 10.5 inch. So I did 11, and instead of 2.5, I'm gonna do 2 3/4. And I do run out of fabric sometimes when I do it this way, so we'll see if I run out. And this is the Simply Delightful Fat Quarter Bundle that I'm using. And I'm making it exactly like Sherri's. Okay, so I've got those. And so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna keep stacks of 4, because I'm gonna need a total of 100 of these. I'm going to iron these together. I'm probably gonna do 6 at a time just to make it easy. Joy says Bonnie at Fat Quarter Shop is fantastic. I called because I got the wrong pattern. She fixed it up. Thank you. We will give her a shout out in email. Are the fabric requirements for the pressed flowers enough to use your method? Yes. Can you show us where you place the ruler on the fabric? Yes. What machine would you suggest for a confident beginner? Maybe a Janome? I think Janomes are good. So that's 3. The evergreen fabric requirements will be available once the fabric arrives. So that's 4. And this is also probably why I broke it, because you see my finger is on that, what is that called? Steam for a lot of time. Okay, so I've got 6 layers. So I'm going to do that same thing where I cut off 11 inches just to get it out of the way. And then I'll keep different stacks over here. So I'm going to cut it about right here. I like to give myself a little bit extra. I'm going to keep stacks separate. And will you keep this stack separate? Sorry. Okay. So here, I'm going to cut about 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch off, just to make sure I'm going through all the layers. And again, instead of 2.5, I'm doing 2 3/4. And when I do this method, I always know I might run out, I might have to buy more, I might have to buy another layer cake, I might run out, but I like to trim down as I go. And when you're cutting, you want to make sure that nothing is wobbling, you know, that you don't have too many layers where it's getting all messed up. So this will go in that smaller stack. And then just keep my salvages all together. And just keep doing the rest of them. The brand of glue that you would use for binding. Oh, well, you really shouldn't use it. We used Aleene's tacky we'll look up what we used. Low volume fabrics are, I'll show you low volume in the next step. So these are considered medium darks. Am I sewing along with the designer mystery? Yes, I am sewing each block in 12-inch. And then if I can, I'm sewing 6-inch, and then if I can still get enough fabric, I'm doing 3-inch. And I'll be showing those on live stream, but not tutorial wise. I'm just gonna show you what I do at home. So I'm doing that same thing, cutting 11 inches. Now this method you cannot use if you're not gonna have extra fabric. It's just, and then here I just make sure I went through all the layers. And this quilt, if you want to see it like up close detail, I can put the papers together so you can see them and take a screenshot. It's also on one of our live streams. And I don't think you use every single one of these. I think you use most of them though. So do you, oh, Aileen's Fabric Fusion and Fabric Fuse were the two glues we mentioned in a previous live stream for gluing binding. Now that's, we've done that before when we need to get stuff done for a live stream, but it obviously is not gonna last long term. Do it for any kind of club at Fat Quarter Shop, including Designer Mystery. If you sign up once, you're in it for the year, and then the next year you have to sign up again. It is sold out for this year, I think. I do starch all of my fabrics. I really don't, I wouldn't, if somebody gave me a stack of fabrics and said this is not starch, you need to sew with it, I just wouldn't. I couldn't do it. Do I empty my water every night? No, I don't. But what I do try to do is I try to kind of figure out how much I'm going to use and just put that much in so that it is somewhat empty at the end of the night, but I don't empty it. Now, are you supposed to empty it? Yeah. So ask me any questions you guys have on, or give me any tips you have on when you're cutting a quilt. I like to just do this way where basically I'm cutting everything in the morning, basically. And then when I go home tonight, I have some other stuff to sew first, and then I'll sew all these blocks all at one time. So like by tomorrow, this will probably all be sewn together in terms of blocks. But it also gives me a break from like cutting, you know, because it does end up, I'm getting old and it's not always. Oh, thank you to the super chat, Cynthia Michelle. Thank you for always teaching me something. Every video helps me. Thank you. What is my favorite quilt block to make? You know, I love all quilt blocks, but I really like stars. And I am keeping the salvages together. You don't have to. That's just my, like, Do I have a shipping date for Bee Vintage? Yes, about 1 week. We're waiting on the final cutting guide because we include that in our kits. So in a week to a week and a half. So 11 inches. And we're kind of keeping these in stacks on the sides so that, you know, maybe it'll be easier on the next round to cut the next block. And then Ashley, at the end of the video, she can show you all the fabric on the floor, because I'm sure you guys would want to see that. But what I do, that's what I do. I throw it on the floor, and then I actually get on my hands and knees and clean it up at home. And then throw it away, and then I get my kids to vacuum the rest. If I don't pick it up, they'll try to vacuum it and ruin the vacuum. I did ruin a vacuum last week. So last week, we plugged in the vacuum in my bathroom, and you know how it has 2 prongs? One of the prongs stuck in the wall. And so then I was being a cheapo. I was like, you know, we don't have money for a big vacuum cleaner. So I bought a cheap vacuum cleaner, and let me tell you, I am regretting that decision because it barely works. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So let's see where my pattern is. Okay, so I have my darks done, or dark mediums done. Now for my lights, I need 13 lights. So let me figure out my lights. Let me see how many we have here. When I stack my fabrics and cut, does it bother you when the pattern don't look straight? Sometimes on this quilt, it's not gonna bother me because the prints are so big, it's not gonna bother me. Some quilts it will, but this one doesn't matter to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so these are considered low volume. This I consider just a background, but it's part of the 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I'm going to iron 6 of those together. I'll do that one last because that's the one that I already cut into. I just bought 2 quilt kits, so they all come with enough fabric to starch. Some do and some don't. You have to kind of sit and look at them. If they're pre-packaged from a manufacturer, they're less likely to have enough to starch. But you can usually get it to work if you're just really careful with your cutting. Do I cut multiple quilts? No. I usually cut one, and then I'm gonna take a break. So if it was on the weekend, I would probably go to a basketball game or, you know, I usually get up super early before anybody so that I can do this. And then I usually end up going, you know, to one of my kids' games, or I don't know, taxi my kids around, and then piece later. But I usually do one at a time. So this one says, let's see what it says to cut. 6 strips. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do 11 inches. Hopefully I don't run out of fabric. Now, what I usually do at home is I would sit down and try to figure out, you know, exactly what fabric I need, but I'm just going to wing it. So this time I need 6. Yeah, and I'm not paying attention to the direction. These prints are just so big, I think it's less noticeable. So hopefully we can get 6 across here. Oh, thank you to Michelle Frothingham. Thank you for all you do. Happy to be attending a live. Thank you. I feel weird doing these lives like this because I do things so weird and so different than everybody that I'm just surprised I don't confuse everybody. But my mind, I mean, my mind just works. I'm kind of weird about stuff, and I'm set in my ways. That is 100% true. So this one I'm going to set aside because these are my darks, and I like them in the stacks. And then I'm going to start a new board with just the lights. And this one's going to be harder because, well, actually what I'm going to do on this one, I'm going to put it on 2 boards so that I can keep my stacks separate. And again, it's just, my mind is just weird. Okay, I'm gonna do more backgrounds. I'm late to the party. Will you be getting in the new magenta rotary cutter? Yes, I am so excited to see that. So they came out with the magenta rotary cutter, Ulfa did, and it's the ergonomic, which is the one I like. And I'm going to the H&H show next week, and I am so hoping, I know it'll be there for me to see, but that's one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing next week. So H&H is in Chicago, and I'm flying out Wednesday morning at like 6 a.m. and then I get home Thursday night at late at night, like 10 or 11. But I'll be here next Friday. Next Friday, we're gonna have a trunk show with Corey Yoder. So that'll be fun. And if I look tired next week, it'll be because I'm flying in late. Do I have any piggy stories? Yeah, I do. I have a piggy story. I have a good piggy story. Okay, so good piggy story. It happened 2 nights ago. Okay, so I have a teenager. She's a real pain in the butt. I love her, but she's a teenager, and she does teenager things. And she has this friend. Of course, I'm not going to say her name. She has a friend that is a little bit wild. You know, you can't pick your friends. You can't, not wild, but just, she's just different. Let's just say that. So she tries to avoid Kevin because she's very loud in the house, and Kevin constantly is going upstairs telling her, hey, there's other people in the house. You need to be quiet. You're too loud, blah, blah, blah. So she avoids Kevin. So 2 nights ago, she was leaving the house at 11 o'clock. She lives like not even a mile away. So she's constantly in and out of her house, which is fine. And we love her. I mean, I'm not saying that she's just one of those, you know, she knows when she knows that we don't want her leaving at 11 o'clock at night. So she goes out the back door to avoid Kevin, which, hey, that's what I would do too. She let the dog in, and the dog cannot be in the house without a diaper because he'll pee everywhere. And so Kevin comes in my room and he's like, what is going on? Why is the dog running around? And why is Kara's going out? Oh, I just said her name. Oops. Why is she going out the back door? Is she running away from me? What is going on? And I was like, I don't know. Talk to your teenage daughter. Anyway. So I had to tell Emma, I was like, okay, we cannot have people leaving the house after 10 o'clock. There are other people in this house that live here that do not want. Anyway, he was really mad about Piggy. And he was yelling at me, and I was asleep. I was like, okay, just go talk to your daughter. But she did get a job. I'm excited. She got a job. She's going to work at Marshall's. I'm so excited. She has a job. So that is very exciting for me. And then I do have another funny story, but it's really, really bad. So, okay. So my other story is, thank goodness basketball ends. When is it? Not this weekend, but next weekend. So I don't have basketball this weekend, but the next weekend we do. I'm not going to one of the games. So we went to a game. It's about a month ago. Let me just say, in the game, our coach said the F word a couple times. The referee might have pushed our coach. The moms might have gone, now this was not me, got on the, it's not a field, but whatever it is, court, screaming, putting their fingers in front of it was really bad. People were fighting. And I was just about to cry, so I started taking pictures because, I mean, you know, I didn't know what to do. And I was just sitting there, and Kevin is just sitting there like, what the heck is going on? And I went to the bathroom, I texted Lori, and I was like, I think I'm going to start crying. This is horrible. I don't know what's going on. I think they're going to call the cops because one of the moms is going to call the cops. It was really bad. And I was like, I don't know what we've got ourselves involved in, but this is not. Okay. So we leave. And my son is in the best mood ever. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? That was ridiculous. And he's like, that was so funny. He thought it was like the best thing ever. And I was like, well, I don't think it's funny. I was not impressed. I was quite pissed off. Anyway, I didn't know what to do. So, yeah, it was not the best. Okay, so 9 patches cut. Now we're going to look at churn dash. Yeah, I just didn't know what to do. And I mean, let's be honest. I'm not somebody you want to make mad because I do have a temper. But in that situation, I was just like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, should I leave? Should I go outside? Should I take my kid? What should we do? This is not good. Oh, so we're going to need some half square triangle paper here. I didn't even think about it. So let me figure out what half square triangle paper I need. And this is exactly what I do when I'm in a pattern. So 11 prints and then 14 prints. Okay, so we're going to do a combination here, a combination here. Let me figure out what half square triangles. 2-inch finished, so I'm going to need H200. And I'm going to need to cut some strips. So from 11 prints, I'm going to cut, these are going to be squares. So we're going to make 61. This is when I have to really think. So I need some strips here and some strips here. And I need 6. What's 66 divided by 2? That's 33. I'm trying to think of where that other 3-inch square goes. Oh. Why do we need... That's not divisible by 4. 66 squares divided by 4 is what? 16 and a half. I'm trying to figure out why we need... Oh, maybe it's the centers. Okay, so this is what I need to do. I need to make 61, I'm going to go backwards. 61 half square triangles. No, 61 blocks. Denise has got her calculator out. Sorry. Okay, so I need 61 blocks times 4.
244.
244. I need 244 half square triangles out of 15. So do 244 divided by 15.
16.26 repeating.
Oh, Lord. Okay, what's 25 times 4?
100.
I'm just reading the pattern so I can figure out, the quilt is 80 inches square, and this is a pencil. Let's see, this, I'm gonna avoid questions. I'm gonna avoid trying to figure out this pattern. Graph gear 1000.7 Pentel. Oh my word. I need 61. Make 3 from each combinations, 33 blocks, 28 blocks. Oh my word. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 block to figure this out. So I'm going to go to top left, I'm gonna pull each fabric. So I think I'm gonna, oh, I need a background fabric. Okay, so let me have the yellow X.
Do you want a small or large?
Well, I don't know. Probably both. So I'm gonna pull the yellow X out of both stacks. And then I'm gonna pull a white on white background. And we're just gonna do one block and figure it out. Perfect. Okay, and then I'm gonna put these away because these are done. So what I think you have to do from this is I think we need to cut 6 of these. Is there any more white?
That's it.
There should, oh, that's it. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I think we have to make 6 half square triangles from each. And this, I'm gonna cut this straight because the first one's not straight. So from here, I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna get some pins. I did do an experiment and it failed last week with one of my sons. I tried to have him sew on the line and make half square triangles and it really did not work out well. So that was kind of a sad moment. So I'm just making one block to figure out how to do it. So this is my first part, and then I need 2 1.5 by 21 inch strips. But I've already cut everything in half, so that's gonna be, I'm gonna have to adjust a little bit. So from here, that's 18. Okay. Cut 6 3-inch squares. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is these are only 18 inches wide. I'm just gonna cut 2 1.5, but I'm not gonna cut 1.5, I'm gonna cut 1 3/4. I'm gonna do a clean cut. And then I'll probably need to make extras, but I'll figure that out when I get home. So 1 3/4, because I got to do it a little bit bigger, because I'm gonna trim down, because these are gonna be strip sets. And then I need 2 from this also. So I'm gonna try to do let's see how much I can get. I'm gonna do, if I do 1 3/4, it's not gonna get me enough. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is instead of 1.5, I'm gonna do 1 5/8, and then 1 5/8, and then improvise when I cut down. So on this design board, this will probably give me 3 blocks. I'll put it sideways. So this is gonna go with this, and then I think I need to add, I think I need to cut a square for the center. From the remaining cut, yeah, so I need to cut, I think I need to cut some 3 2.5 inch squares. Okay. So from here, I think I need 3 2.5-inch squares. So 2.5 times 3 is 7.5. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna cut 2.5. And then look how much fabric I have left over. Not very much. So I'll keep this. And I'll keep this. Because I might need more. But I'm gonna just keep these in little stacks. But I think that basically I need to cut 10 more blocks just like this. Thank you to Tracy Harding. Have I picked up any new ways of doing things? I feel like I learn all the time and do different things all the time. Like on this one, I'm cutting my squares exact, but my strip set's bigger, and I'm using triangle paper. So I'm gonna keep these together. Should I cut the rest? Or should I? So you guys vote. Do you want me to cut the rest of the quilt or just stop and then cut the rest at home? Because y'all might be getting bored of me cutting. And I'm going to answer questions. Do I have a shipping date for Twas from Jill Howarth? I don't off the top of my head. Was the block you used for your low volume or was it a pattern? So this one right here, it's a background. You can consider it a low volume or not. It's up to you.
The economy block, your low volume economy quilt.
My low volume economy quilt.
You use it.
Oh, was it a pattern? I used the economy block 6-inch papers and I cut the sashing 1.5 and I cut my border. I'll tell you. Okay, so I made 80 blocks. I used the 6-inch economy paper. I cut all of my sashing 1.5 inches wide. I cut my border 5.5 inches. And it was not a pattern, it was just a simple layout, 8 by 10. Do I know when the bundle triangle paper will be in? It's this week's special. It will not be in because we are sold out of several, so that will not be available until like July, August. After I finish all of the 9 patches, please look and see if the leftovers would be good to use in the churn dash. Yes. Are we getting more fabric for the pressed flower? Yes. We sent an email out on that about a month ago. Do I have a shipping date? Oh, I already answered that. The teal flowers. Okay, am I going to be getting any more kits? I don't think so because they discontinued several of the prints from Willow Hollow or Hollow Willow or Willow something. What's it called? Willow. It's got Willow in the name, but they discontinued several prints, so I can't make more. Okay, so you guys tell me, okay, have we voted? Cut the rest at home. Okay, so what I'm actually going to cut it here after this video, but we'll move everything. We'll take a little break and then we'll come back. So I'll be back in about 1 minute. we haven't been on live stream in quite a while, so I have a lot of new things to show you, new sew-alongs, new everything. So what I wanted to start with was Haunted Halloween. So this is what I can show you so far. If you're sewing along, this was part 1. This is a completely free pattern. He's zooming it in. Okay, perfect. So this is part 1, which is here and here and here, and then other parts. And then part 2 is the little kitty cat, and I've loved seeing all of your quilts on social media. They're so fun. Just remember, this is a completely free pattern from us to you. Now next week, Tuesday, June 20th, will be part 3. This one finishes at 31 by 32, and it features the Halloween collection by Urban Chicks. So thank you to everyone who has been sewing along with us. It's so fun, and you can use any fabric you want. And the fabric requirements are on the blog, and everything else is on the blog. And that's all I can show you from the back. Now I'm going to show you the Liberty Box. So if you bought the Liberty Box, everyone has started receiving it, and we've gotten great reviews. So thank you so much for that. So for this, it's sold out, but I'm going to show you what's in it. If you don't want to see, then just close your eyes, I guess, for a little bit, but don't turn me off. So Stars and Stripes, big and bright, so cute. And so there's coupons on the back. I can't show you the coupons. And this year we featured Stateside by Sweetwater. And we currently just picked next year. And what we liked about this year's is I really liked just the Americana simpleness, the colors, and then I liked all the names and the states. The pattern that comes with it is so amazing. I think it was designed by Jocelyn. It doesn't say, but I think Jocelyn designed it. Yes, okay, Jocelyn designed it, yay. I'm gonna show you the quilt in a little bit. So you get this cute little tape measure. It's actually a Lori Holt tape measure, Be Vintage. But I mean, who doesn't need a tape measure? Kevin's always in my office, where's the tape measure? And I'm like, get out, you keep losing them. We put some red, white, and blue Bowen pins. If you've never tried Bowen products, they're amazing. All of their products are amazing. They're made in, I think they're made in France. Yes, everything's made in France. And then for the pattern, this 4.5-inch custom ruler, the custom color was done for us by Lori and Riley Blake, and it works really well with the pattern. Now we are donating money to the Quilts of Valor from the sales of these boxes. Now in your box, you'll get 2 different coasters, and there's 4 different styles, so you'll get 2 of the 4. Really cute. So I love this year's box, and then I'm going to show you the quilt. And very easy. So can I see the pattern real quick? So just like a little hint, if it was me sewing this, I would use 4-inch finished square and a square paper for this. And then I would use the Eleanor Burns Flying Geese method for this. I would use paper for this. And then these are just, I've just cut them just as they are. And what's great about this pattern is we give you cutting diagrams so that you know exactly where to cut, and it will keep your fabric going the right direction. So if you make sure you've got your 18 and your 20 in the right spot, all your flags will wave the correct way. So really cute. It finishes at 27 by 36. And then this is what we put on the back. Oh, and the quilt was designed by Jocelyn, pieced by Teresa, and quilted by Maggie Honeyman. Now, next Friday, we kind of talked about it, but next Friday is going to be guest designer Corey Yoder. She's going to talk about the charity quilt-alongs. She's going to talk about her current collection, her next collection, and she's going to have a trunk show of lots of different quilts. And so there'll be lots of different collections featured. different designs. A lot of her patterns are pre-cut friendly, and then you can ask questions. There is enough fabric to starch in the Liberty box. And I have an announcement. Casey, she is a customer. So Casey and Benjamin are getting married today, June 16th. So I wanted to wish them a special shout out. Great job. Good luck. Wishing you joy and happiness on your wedding day as you begin your new life together. So that is amazing. And I did send Kevin cookies this week if y'all want to hear a funny story. They were sent on June 13th. That's the day we got engaged 21 years ago. So I sent it to him and I put 21 years ago today. He walked in my office. I swear to God, he said, what happened 21 years ago? And I was like, get out of my office. What are you talking about? You don't know? He goes, it was July. I was like, no, it was not July, dude. No, it was not July. Anyway, can I just say he's been getting on my nerves this week? I hope he's not watching, but he's really getting on my nerves this week. I love him, but oh my God, have you ever worked with your husband? It's amazing. Okay. So, so new quilt kits. So, new collection that we got in is Harvest Moon by Fig Tree. It's going to be Monday's newsletter. But just so you know, that collection is selling really fast, and 2 bolts are already sold out, and pre-cuts are starting to sell out. So this is a brand new pattern, Autumn Stars Quilt Kit. It's a low price PDF. It's 60 by 72, and we released the video yesterday on how to make the blocks using our half rectangle trimmer, which was, I believe, in a Sew Sampler box. So you might have it if you're in the Sew Sampler subscription. And I would say this quilt is intermediate. So it basically shows you how to make these blocks where, if you've ever made a half rectangle, it's really hard to get the points right here to line up. So we show you how to use this ruler so that all your points will line up and there's very little waste. So I would say intermediate. So the pattern is available as a PDF only. We have the rulers and then we have the kit, and I love how the kit is offset by the sashing. And this is all Harvest Moon by Fig Tree Quilts and Moda Fabrics. This is what I am using. This is the collection I'm using for the new Triangle Gatherings Quilt Along by Lisa Bonjean. I will be showing you my blocks in 2 weeks. And that is the back. Sorry, I had to get a drink. The next quilt is the same collection. It's called All in a Row Quilt Kit. This one is a Jolly Bar pattern. So the pattern in this only comes in the Jolly Bar. It was designed by Angel, pieced by Angel, and quilted by Abby Latimer. And this one would be really fun if you wanted to do like kind of a wild, you could do some wild backgrounds in here if you wanted to. And then this is her backing. She put, she used 14 count Aida. She hand stitched with a back stitch her name, the date, and then she sewed it down. And then she put a little selvage on top. Do you want to zoom into that? Like the only thing that's sewed down is right here. In terms of raw edges, this is raw edge. So that's raw, this is raw edge, and then she made sure it says, come and sit with me under the Harvest Moon. So this pattern right here is only available in the Harvest Moon Jolly Bar. The next quilt we've shown you before, but we now have the kits in stock. This is Spangled by Kim Deal, so it's available as a paper pattern and a PDF pattern. I do have something planned with this for the July one of my July live streams. It's a secret though. I can't tell you what it is because I don't want to give away, because then y'all will start doing it at home and then one up me. So this one is meant to be scrappy. So if you have scraps, it could be Kim Deal, Lori Holt, anybody. It's so cute. And I love the quilting on this one. This one was designed by Kim Deal, obviously, but I don't know who quilted it. She pieced it. I do know Kim Deal pieced it, and she pieces where on the front she has a skinny binding, and on the back she just goes further back. Okay, so to answer you guys' question, me and Denise came up with this. Okay, so Denise did this for me. So what we do is we have an image for top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. After the live stream, you got to give Ashley a little bit of time, but she can put in the community tab images of these, and then you would blow them up and print them out. And then if you want to make it exactly like Sherri did, you would just follow this. And then that's probably what I'm going to do, is just follow it exactly, so I don't really have to think. So when I do these, I'll probably just pull them and I'll probably go in order and just make them like that. So then, so hopefully that will solve all of the questions that we have about trying to do it exactly like me, because we do have the images. We just need to get to them and put them in the community tab. And then all we did is just print them out. We have a lot of new fabric. So this one is Blizzard by Sweetwater, and it's a Christmas group. It's got like cars, stockings, snowmen. Deb Strain's Christmas is called Holidays at Home. I can tell you this panel is, I believe, sold out. It comes in a couple of colors, but the panel, I believe, has already sold out. The Magic of Christmas by Lori Whitlock is also Christmas. So I'm trying to put the Christmas together so you can see all the Christmases. So that's kind of Sweetwater, Lori Whitlock, Deb Strain. Jerry Robinson, no, Tasha Noel. Okay, this is the one I love. This is called Simply Country Tasha Noel. Now this one, I am going to do something with. I have not decided what, but I would really like to do a sew along or something in this because I love the colors and the motifs. There's a lot of quilting motifs in it. So you've got a sawtooth star, florals. I love this one. So I have not decided what I'm going to do with it, but I do have it on my list of, and it might be where I hold the half yard bundle and then sew something in 6 months and it's sold out. You know, it might be something like that because I haven't figured out what I'm going to do yet, but that's okay. And what I also like is I like the range of blues so that when you do your quilt, it will kind of, you know, it won't just be blue, white. It'll be, but yeah, I love this one. So this one is Simply Country Tasha Noel, Riley Blake Designs. And one thing I am planning to do today or this weekend is I'm going to organize my sewing room. And I'm trying to do it before Emma starts her job because that way I don't, I get her full time because she's actually really good at organizing. We got some new batiks. This is Forest Breeze. It's Hoffman Fabrics. And Hoffman usually does a lot of backgrounds with theirs. And all their stuff really mixes well. Now we did just receive Bloomsville by Tilda. Now, if you buy the Fat Quarter Bundle, it might come like this, which is packaged from Brewer. It might also come pre-cut from us. So we sold out of our first batch of the bundles, but Tilda is made, it's a company based in England, and they print it one time. And so if you're a store, no matter what store you are, you get your order, nothing else. You cannot reorder anything. So the half year bundles, I believe, are sold out. And the Fat Quarter Bundles, you might get it packaged this way. You might get it packaged, cut internally from us, and then it's going to be gone. Autumn Fields by Robert Kaufman. And this is a group that they do every year. They change the name, but they always do a fall group with metallic every year. Just like they also do a Christmas group with metallic, but it's really beautiful. And I've actually made something with one of them. I think the one I made was called Fields of Autumn or something. What is this one? Autumn Fields. But the one I made a couple years ago. But look how pretty this is. And their metallic is always really nice. I think it's the only metallic I've ever made is the table runner that I have. It was a free pattern that we wrote years and years and years ago. So Autumn Fields, Robert Kaufman. And then Frightful by Patrick Lose. So Patrick Lose, he's been in the industry forever, much longer than us at Fat Quarter Shop. This month, or last month, was our 20th anniversary. So these are skulls, right? Yeah, skulls, spider webs, lightning. Ooh, that's scary. Just scary. Jordan, do you like this? Yeah, I was like, Jordan will probably like this. Scary. I do like this print. So he has done fabric through the years with different companies, and he's also done fabric on his own, but now he's working with Northcott. Country Cardinals is by Wilmington. And so you've got poinsettias. This is kind of like, what is that board that used to be popular that people would put on walls? Shiplap. Shiplap, black shiplap. I was like, what's the word? These are little cardinals. I see a lot of cardinals in my neighborhood. This is a running stripe. If you ever need a running stripe, Wilmington always has lots of running stripes. And this one's really pretty. It's Barnes with quilt blocks on the windows. And then there's your shiplap. And then the panel that goes with it. Is 23 inches wide. And it's got that same quilt block. And then we have 2 new collections from Figo. We get a lot of requests for Figo. I hope I'm saying that right. This is Karen Lewis hand stitched. And it's modern, but the colors are really muted. It kind of reminds me of Anila Hui or Anila Hoey, like the look of her quilts that she designs. So this one's really pretty. This is Seasons by Figo. This one I think might be a basic. It's got stars, X's, dashes, circles. It's geometric and it's called Seasons. And then this one I love. This is All Hallows Eve by Sue Zipkin for Northcott. Okay, y'all, a secret that if y'all want to know, Kevin loves Halloween. It's one of the things that drives me crazy about him. He wants to buy every Halloween collection that comes in the store, and I have to put him on. I have to tell him no, because he will buy anything that has Halloween on it. So this is the panel. So yeah, we have to, it's one of our jokes because he loves Halloween. And then he tries to get our kids to go trick-or-treating. I'm like, they are now officially teenagers. They do not need to trick-or-treat with you, their dad. They can go with their friends. But yes, I will say, let me just say that having a 16-year-old, oh Lord, I'm gonna have a heart attack soon. I mean, also, she's mini me. So Kevin's like, well, it's kind of payback. I'm like, yeah, kind of. So it's got pumpkins, cats, stars, and a couple of spider webs. And then Kathy Holden, we got these charms and enamel needle minders, and we can't keep them in stock. So we just got this batch. I don't know how long they'll last. So the way this works is we buy a ton, as many as I think we can sell, and then when they sell out, we get more, but it's just much later. But they're so cute, and the quality's really good. So they're zipper charms, so you can put them on the end of your bag. So if there's angels, snowmen, I mean, so cute. And then a while ago, Big Tree came out with some zipper pulls, and I asked her if we could carry them at Fat Quarter Shop, and she said yes. So we have them. Now, you might have already bought them from her, but now we have them too. So thank you for letting us have those. That one's really cute. And they're kind of smaller. So if you look at them, they're more dainty than most because they're small and they're so cute. This one is an enamel pin. So these are charms and then these are pins. And they go along with the fruit cocktail fabric and the book we just did the sew along with. So cute. And then we also have two zipper pulls to go with cross stitch, stitching with housewives. And then this one is called Weigh In. And so it's like a vintage scale. Okay, so now I'm going to answer questions before I do the giveaway. So if you have a question, pop it in. What was the last Halloween collection called? All Hallows Eve by Sue Zipkin. Were you near the tornado areas? No. And I'm really bad. I don't watch the news, so I don't know what tornadoes are, where they were. Why do you cut a little fabric off the edge before you make your other cuts? Okay, so I do that because I want a perfectly straight edge before I cut. My parents worked together for 30 years owning a flower shop. They did it. You can too, but I'm sure my mom would relate to some days works being very hard. Yeah, no, it's fine. I can be easily annoyed when I have like a million things on my plate. And right now I just feel like I have like a million things on my plate because I'm about to go to Chicago for work. And so the work doesn't go away. So I'm trying to get my work in so I can actually have a weekend where I'm not just working 24/7. But the way it's going to work out, I think I'm going to work all weekend. But I'm going to go, and my daughter starts her job. I'm going to show up at the store just to really make her mad. Because it'll be so funny. I'm actually going to take everyone in the house and just be like, we're shopping, and just embarrass her. It'll be so great. When will we be getting more of the background for pressed flowers? We will be getting that in, I think, July, August. It seems to be the fabric is getting thinner. Is there a fabric manufacturer that makes heavier weights that are not flannel? I don't think the fabric has changed. I haven't noticed that. But a Northcott is known for having like a really nice feel. Art Gallery is thinner because it uses a different weight. I haven't noticed anything. We'll be getting, oh yeah. Am I going to sew the designer series live? No, but I'm going to show you my blocks. And Nova did a really nice thing where she put a layout where the only way to get the pattern for Designer Mystery is to be in the club. I think the club is sold out now. But we are giving you my math for 6-inch and 3-inch also if you want to do that. Now, it's not a guarantee that you'll have enough fabric in each one to do it. That's why I'm going to take home all my extras. So, because eventually I'm not going to have enough and I'm going to have to sub fabrics. Does the Creative Grids seam guide have the traditional grip on the back? I think it does. Is it here? Hold on. Yeah, it's here. Yes, it does. Will there be any more No Place Like Home quilt kits? No, those sold out. Everything has been selling out like crazy. I don't know what's going on. Is there enough fabric to starch? Depends which quilt. Is this part of the Sew Sampler boxes I signed up and haven't received? The Liberty. Okay, so Liberty box is not part of Sew Sampler. It is a separate one. Thank you to Susan Anderton for the super chat. Do I think triangle paper is the best way? Of course. I only make triangles with triangle paper. Does anybody remember which Sew Sampler included the half square triangle ruler? No. And it might not have been, but I think it was. Are there any bundles of Susan Aki's reds and blues? We sold out. What 1/4-inch foot do I use? I use one, it's called like 1/4-inch foot with a guide, and I bought it from Lisa Bonjean at Primitive Gatherings. What is the eyelet included in the Harvest Moon quilt kit? So I would just search Harvest Moon eyelet. The one in the Jolly Bar is the one that's the lightest. I had a collection on Instagram and it had light blue aquas and was Christmassy. Do I know what the name of it is? No, I don't. Okay, so for the giveaway today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give away the Happy Go Lucky pattern with both Eleanor Burns Quilt in a Day Flying Geese rulers, the small and the large. 3 people are gonna win, and you have until Tuesday, June 20th to enter. And what I want you to do is just in the comments give your best quilting tip, whatever it is, because then that way all of us in the community can go in and read, and maybe there's something you can teach us that we don't know. And we will announce the winners next week, and make sure to join me next Friday where I have Corey Yoder as a guest. Bye.